office mover, furniture mover.
Yeah.
From February until I started at Waterloo in September 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you've done, but you've been continuing to do. You said you're doing one study term, one work term. Has that been since the beginning?
Since the beginning, yeah.
So effectively that like the timeline of your degree is longer. Exactly. But you're getting everything like way more stuff happening.
Oh, yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
That's what I love about it. You know, you're never in one place for too long.
Yeah.
Right. You're never in school for too long. You're never on the job for too long. But personally, I like being out in the field more, on the job more, because I find you learn more. Right. More practical stuff. You know, because there's only so much theory you can learn in school. I like to see how it's applied. Right. Okay, take all that knowledge and.
Yes.
How do we do something with it, right? Otherwise, it's just useless, right? Useless information. If I can't use it, what's the point? It's like learning drum fill. If you can't use it in a song, what the hell's the point, right? Come on.
Yeah, you learn a lot of things, and then you just use maybe 10%, 20%, depends.
I think, you hit the nail on the head right there. About 10% of it.
What you do,
yeah, depends what you do there. I mean, with my program, civil engineering, you learn a lot of advanced calculus and all kinds of crazy stuff, differential equations, advanced physics, and the mechanics, right? Mechanics, I love that course. Statics, right? Because that's all the applications.
The applications,
Exactly, right? This is when you take your calculus, you take all of the prerequisite skills you learned in high school and the years before, and you apply it to actually doing something, right? Some of it I actually used to build that model we're going to talk about. Right? The downtown Brampton model. Like there was a curved section of sidewalk. What I had to do was I had to get the curve properly to model it properly, right? Get the nice smooth curve to how it is in real life. And I figured, how the heck am I going to do this, right? I figured I could use integration, which is a skill we learned in calculus, right? The process of it. And integration is like the area underneath the curve, right? And you can use it to find volumes and stuff like that of things in three-dimensional with double, triple integration, right? But I don't want to bore you too much with the theory, but
no, that's all good.
The picture you got like some sort of curve, right? Represented by a function in math, right? Like a graph, right? You got your x-axis, y-axis, and you have some sort of curve, right? You want to find the area underneath it. Well, integration was how they did it was, I forget the mathematician who theorized it, but you use a bunch of differential elements, so small rectangles that you can place in this area that you want to find. Now, if you know the area of those rectangles, right? However many you have in that area gives you the area, right?
Right.
So to improve the accuracy of that, you want to use smaller elements, right? Now, with this curve I was trying to model, I had this distance measuring tool, okay? Now the sidewalk is curved, right? So where I was standing was like that curve function. Now the axis, that's straight, right? That's not changing. That's like the wall of the building that was on the boulevard, right? Where it was sitting. So what I'd do is I'd take that laser device and I'd take shots. I'd stand on the edge of the sidewalk, so the edge of the curve, right? Take a shot from the edge of the curve to the wall. You get a distance. Move over, take another shot, you get another distance. Take another shot, you get another distance. You get all these distances. And then what you do is when I go to the model, and where I'm kind of going to draw out my positions. So I draw out where the theater is, right? This wall here. Then I want to model the curve. So now I have the distances from where I was standing, from the wall to where I was standing, right? So now I measure all those out, and you got a bunch of points. Now you just connect the dots. Connect all the dots together, there's your curve.
Right. So that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the application, right?
Well, yeah, and then I think, which is what I hope, kids, one of the things you hope kids kind of take away from stuff like that is that there is a link between all this, at the time, seemingly incomprehensible, boring nonsense that's on the board or in the classroom. You're like, what am I ever going to do with this?
Oh, that's just it.
Well, and then it turns out, oh, look, that's how that happens. It's not, and it's, even though you described it using some tech that, sure, 40 years ago you wouldn't have done it that way, you would have used the same formula. You would have just got your data in a slightly different way.
That's it.
But with all the tech in the world today, you can't do it if you don't have the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
That's
the basics,
the piece,
right?
I mean, the tech is doing more and more for us. Like the latest iPhone upgrade, it now has a measuring tool in it, which is pretty cool.
I saw that too. Yeah,
now,
it's crazy.
It's not perfect, right? And just like everything else, when people say, "Well, why do you use anything that you use old school. Like, why do you read a book? You can have a Kindle. Well, you know, my ruler and my book and things like that, they work when I forget to plug them in, right? And whereas my phone or
That's right.
those things still depend. They're great technological tools, but they are actually, they have weak points, which is if you don't have power, or like me,
Yeah,
you're
you're
notoriously unreliable at charging your own devices.
Me too.
Same thing with GPS.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
so many people this day and age sort of cut you off.
No,
Patrick,
no worries,
but,
no worries, yeah.
but they don't know where they're going with anything.
no,
No? It's crazy.
Uh,
You see people walking around like this,
Yeah.
and which way's east, which way's west? Is it over there? I don't
Yeah.
know, right? It's like, come
I
on.
just have my first smartphone in like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Before that, like I remember in France 10 years ago, I used a car like a map,
Yeah.
real map.
Right.
And people say, "But use GPS."
Yeah,
I
they're
say,
looking at
no,
you
I
like
don't
you're from
want
outer
because
space,
I want to
right?
use my brain to know where I'm looking.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that, right? I mean, come on. Like,
But,
you gotta be
know,
aware of your surroundings, right?
Yes.
Many
Yeah.
people are not aware
No.
of their surroundings.
Mm.
You know, like where I live, I mean, part of the whole navigation thing was when I was a kid, right? Whenever I go driving out with my parents,
Yeah.
I'd always be looking out the window at things, and then you memorize where things are. Like you go to your cousin's place, or you go
Okay.
to your
Yeah.
grandma's house. You go to this place, then you recognize streets, you recognize landmarks. I remember that funny-looking building there, that statue, or
Yeah.
the fountain, right? And then, as I got older with my friends and stuff, we'd go riding bikes around the neighborhood, and we'd try to get lost, right? Yeah, purposely you try to get lost. Don't look at any street signs, nothing, and then try to find your way back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do stuff like that because it works the brain and it advances you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you're more confident too, right? You're more confident when you don't have something like this, or if it fails, right, or something like that. I wonder how many people they'd have nervous breakdowns if we had like a huge, like the grid went down or something,
big,
right?
big
Like,
electromagnetic storm,
Yeah.
knock everything out.
yeah, what if, right? It'd
Well,
be crazy.
It will happen. I mean, at some point, it's a matter of, not to scare everybody, but there was a big one in the last big one that I know. Speaking of, like it was just a solar storm, and then there's big electromagnetic bursts.
Yeah.
There was a blackout in Quebec. I want to say it was either 1997 or 94. I can't remember now. Maybe, sorry, 89. I think it was 1989 for Quebec. But it took out, like I was there at the time, and it took out basically the province for the most part, and I think a chunk of the northern U.S. But of course, back then, there was no internet. There was not the type of communication we have. So
Yeah.
on the one hand, nobody knew what was going on other than this blackout seemed to be different because eventually you'd be able to call, usually blackouts weren't that unusual, but it'd be like, a neighborhood, a city. But now people were calling their family like 3 hours away and they're going, yeah, we don't have power either. And then eventually you figure
That's
out,
all
the
the
whole
spread.
thing's out. It was due to a storm, electromagnetic storm. But, so it was a big impact that, two things, because you couldn't get the information so instantaneously,
That's right.
people didn't react very quickly. Like, it was kind of like, oh well, nothing's out. I guess I'm going
Big
to bed
deal.
early tonight, and that was
Yeah.
kind of about
Oh, well.
it. On the
Yeah.
other hand, there was nothing to break to the same degree, like because it affects everything that's electronic, and it just wasn't the same degree of electronics out there. So
That's right.
if that same storm were to happen today, I suspect the impact would be much greater
Oh, absolutely.
because we're not. That's one
But
thing they
so
talk
many
about.
people become
We're not.
dependent on it.
But even as a grid, as a society, our stuff's not protected
That's-
against that, right?
That's not about magnetic storm. It's more about electricity.
Mm.
Like in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
they had like when they powers
Power went out.
yeah
Yeah.
because they use too much electricity and
Oh, wow.
yeah because
just the whole thing.
this city is in the desert, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's an insane
That's an insane
marvel of engineering. Actually, that entire city.
I'll
That
tell
would
you,
be
man.
something for to check out behind the scenes, like how they do it. Because
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
It's
Pretty wild
It's
resources.
amazing. All over the place, You look at places like Dubai, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah,
so
yeah, Dubai.
engineering heaven over there.
Yeah.
Stuff going on there. It's incredible, right? The technology.
So let's go back to the curb because of course, that's not all you did. What you were talking about. Well, tell us about it. You've built a mock-up. Is it 1:87 scale?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
1:87
scale.
scale of downtown Brampton.
That's
So, how did that project start, and
Oh, man.
and How long did that take?
Well, I
to make?
guess I should start with the whole motive behind it.
Yeah,
There's this old theater downtown Brampton called the
Rose.
Heritage Theater, not the Rose.
Oh, not
the
Rose.
The
Okay,
the
Heritage Theater.
right? And
I have my own Brampton history, but we won't go into that then. Yours sounds way better. Yeah.
well, being that I'm a musician, right? And I'm always looking for places to play for the band, for the guys, whatever,
Yeah.
right? I always want to get out there and strut my stuff, right?
Yeah.
Brampton, we don't have too much for live entertainment, unfortunately, right?
Mm.
We've got some things, but it's not enough as compared to like Toronto and other places, right?
Yeah.
And that's a shame, you know, because I think we're just over 600,000 now, population, and still growing. We're not
Just Brampton?
yeah,
That's-
just Brampton.
yeah, wow.
That's just
It's
Brampton.
getting huge, huh?
Yeah,
So-
it's nuts, and
Yeah.
we get nothing for, and not just like for music, for like clubs, anything.
Because there is no
crazy.
downtown actually, right?
We've got a downtown,
It's
but
small, but it's small.
yeah, small,
Yeah.
and there's not much there, right?
Yeah.
And even not just in downtown, but the whole place, there's not much to do there, right? I remember I had a meeting with this guy. He was on the Arts Council, Brendan Healy, I think his name was, and he asked me. He said, "So Matt, you're a young guy. When you go out on the weekends with your buddies or whatever, where do you go in Brampton?" We don't go anywhere, Brampton. We
Right.
got to go outside of it, right?
Yeah.
You said
Cambridge,
that.
are you listening? This may sound a little familiar. Just
No.
just reverse the city names, but it's
Well, there you go.
It's very interesting because it affects a lot of towns. But let's focus
Yeah.
back on Brampton for sure.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some good places
No,
there, like
but-
the Rose
but
and
it-
stuff like that, right? But you know, it could always be better, right? It could always be better.
Yeah.
You know, there could always be other places to play and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So I was thinking, the theater is the perfect venue. It's right downtown, right? Things just sitting there. It's right by all the transportation routes,
hmm
the easy access for people, and also if you open that up, it can forward more business to the other small businesses around there, right?
Right.
It brings
And at
things
this
up
point,
more.
it's vacant, right?
Yeah, it's vacant, just
Yeah.
sitting there. It closed in 2006, right? So I was thinking, my rationale is this, right? I'm just a student right now, right? There's only so much I can do. I'm not made of money